The overnight lows in our corner of the world are anywhere from 15 below to as much as 30 below zero. The number one concern I had was the new water tank. Even though it was 10 below, I flew the drone up to inspect the water tank for the first time in at least 2 months, and this is what the water tank shed looks like after the worst winter in our history here. But this morning, the first thing I checked when I came downstairs was to see if any pipes were frozen, and they were not. So in spite of the fact that the water tank shed is a bump in the snow right now, it did its job. And the little cabin seems to be okay as well. Okay, that's the angle. It ended up being 36 degrees, and I had to cut all but the last 2 rafters off. I get to figure out how many steps it's going to take between the top and the bottom. I'm going to start with 8 inches and see how that lays out. So 8 inches between steps. So before I go cutting anything else up, I need to figure out how many steps I'm going to end up with. If you've never used a 5-gallon bucket for a sawhorse or a table to weld on, you're not living. Initially, I built a jig that I could use over and over again, ensuring that the steps are spread out the way that they're supposed to be. But it never quite works out the way that I see it in my head. And on this first stringer, I had to make adjustments a few different times. I'm a very visual person, and rather than trying to work this out with a calculator and a piece of paper, I would rather do it where I can see it and know if what I'm doing is correct. I know I don't want to be any higher than 8 inches between treads, but it also has to hit the landing correctly as well. I will end up using 3 14-foot 2x12s for stringers, and any leftover 2x10s that I have around here, especially the ones from the landing, I will use as treads. You will see later in the video that the 2x12 stringers and the 2x10 treads leave room for some improvement. And as much as it drives me crazy to waste wood, I don't think the 2x10 stair treads are going to work. Bedroom up there.
Can we maybe sleep in it? Me and Callie the first night that it's done?
First night that it's done, you and Callie sleep in it? Yeah, you want me over here?
Okay.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. one of those basketball games, but a good one, a good quality one, not a cheap one.
Like that, the size of that one.
Have you seen these?
I need to have one more.
I have a policy that if I find a Hostess apple pie, I buy it because I can't even find them anymore, the real ones. And I found these minis.
Where?
The grocery store. About 2 boxes.
You went to the grocery store?
We had to, me and Reed, after his game.
Oh, by yourself?
And it, not like I eat crap like this all day long.
You
But
do. You love those. You eat it till the box is
Reed's
done.
had 2 today, I've had 2. So,
This is
Those things leave like a film in your mouth.
yeah, it reminds me, see, there used to be, across the street from the junior high that I went to, there was a Hostess, what's it called? Like a scratch and dent.
Store, yeah.
So they were like 2 weeks old, so the donuts were just starting to get a little fuzzy. And they were like 10 cents. And we'd go over there every day.
I didn't know.
Hi, little lady. Where's my lady? Where's my little lady? You skinny minnie. Oh,
After this
you
project,
stink.
it's like this gonna be like technically a huge playroom. Almost.
Yeah. I want this to be a lot of fun for you guys. And because of how close it is to the house, I think it's just always going to have to be that way. Maybe I'll build another shop over here or something. I don't know. I knew when we built this that Mom was going to do something with it.
What's this?
Not just Mom's idea, my idea too.
Hey, Eric. Hey.
Bathroom, there's going to be a door somewhere right here.
Hey.
So you can come in. So we'll have light switches right here, so you can turn the lights on outside if you want to shoot baskets out there. So we'll have Christian's going to come help me.
What's this?
Christian's going to come help me next weekend and wire up. I'll finish all
I
that.
know, but where?
Where?
Out there, like on the court.
Up high.
Oh.
Ruby! She's like, Ruby's like, give me a break from it. Come on, Ruby. Come on, Ruby. Ruby needs a break. Ruby needs a break from Willie. Come on, Willie. Don't let any cold air in. I have the heater on all day.
Come on, this butt is so funny. Oh, Ruby gets out like a little baby. Little baby.
Hiding everything in life feels very frightening, and I live with so much that I longer don't know why even. So violent, mama, every thought I have I'm dying. But it's like I know, might just meet some guy and cry a little. Help me, I need a good advice. Please don't say no, be my hero. You can tell me lies, please don't cut these ties. Need a hero, 'cause I got zero hope.
Whining so hard, I think life's all about me. And it's hardly even snow, but I stay inside like it's the ice age. I need you to dry my face. Look how I behave, and all the mess that I made. breaking down my neck, and it's me to blame.
Help me, I need a good advice. Please don't say no. Be my hero. You can tell me lies. Please don't cut these ties. Need a hero, 'cause I got zero hope. Zero hope. I got
All right, it is probably somewhere between about 5 below and maybe 15 below. It's so cold that when I first had to grab my hammer this morning, I couldn't get it out of my hand. It was stuck to my hand. It's cold today. It's supposed to be cold for the next 3 days. And then, mark my words, this is the moment last year where we have this major swing in temperature. I'm going to bet money that within 30 days from now, we are somewhere north of 40 degrees. And the big concern now is the melt-off. Where's all this snow going to go? In the last nearly 7 years that we've owned this land, there was 1 year where I remember the runoff being quite concerned because it happened in like 10 days. Literally, the snow went from being here to being gone in like 10 days. We have never had any flooding issues in the house. We've never had water get anywhere near the house, but it has to go around the house. And so I graded all that accordingly. But back when we had that, I think it was 6 years ago when we had that just extreme melt off, the one thing I do remember is the creek went from being about 18 inches wide to about 20 feet wide. Okay, now if you've been watching for the long haul, the very first fence I put in across the bottom of the property, I put that fence in because that's when Cedar started bringing the kids up here when I would be working. And I was terrified Reed was going to wander down to that creek and never be seen again. So in the next 30 days, it should get interesting around here. In a best case scenario, the melt is slow. The melt is like at least a month long, if not longer, and it just slowly goes down into the ground. Because we're mountainside, we have this top 2-foot layer of topsoil that's amazing, but the water goes down, and right in between the clay layer and the topsoil, the water basically works its way right down to the creek. So it's going all over the place up here. The best case scenario is that it melts slow enough that that water has a chance to do good. Water going downhill fast erodes, and I'm going to have to watch that because I have a lot of places around here, especially up here on the hillside behind the house, where I didn't plant any grass last year because I wasn't quite done with the dirt work. So I'm going to hope for the best that it slowly melts off and that we don't have any major issues. But in the meantime, I got to finish these stairs, and I need to go pick up some more materials for the second story, but I'm not going to do it until the stairs are done. And then once the second story bedroom is framed up, it's now about this loft. So I'm getting excited about the loft, kind of. I also need to do some electrical somewhere in the middle of all this. My son-in-law, Cheyenne's husband, Christian's going to come over and help me at some point. But I want to get a bunch of the legwork done so I'm not wasting his time. He has his own projects to do. So anyway, it's cold. Eastern Idaho is as low as 30 below right now. And down where we are, it got about 15 below last night. But I'm going to turn the heater back on and see if I can't get these stairs finished up. What I've decided to do was to use the last two 2x10s that were originally part of that landing. I've decided to leave them right where they're at and leave them free floating, and then tie those two 2x10s into the loft. So the landing basically moved forward about 4 feet, and that solved my stair problem. The angle is now 36 degrees, which technically is a little bit more than it should be, but they're safe and they're comfortable. But I do have this issue now where the 2x10 treads need to be about 1.5 inches wider to fill the void on the middle stringer. Of course, I can live with these 2x10s as it's mainly an aesthetic thing, but this is my one chance to fix it. I would rather not come back at some point later and change these treads out, because it'll take quite a bit more work at that point versus doing it right now. I just hate the idea of taking the 2x10s out and spending a couple $100 on 2x12s for the new stair treads. This is about the point where I realize that I need to get the middle support stringer in place before I get too many more treads up, because I'm not going to be able to get it in. By installing the middle stringer, it's going to make the stairs significantly stronger. And then I'm going to install a piece of angle iron under the stair treads to support the stair treads so they cannot break free as they're being walked on over and over again. Once I get the loft all framed up, I'm going to have to figure out the handrail, and of course I'm leaning towards doing some plumbing pipe out here. But whatever handrail I choose to put up has to be safe enough that nothing can fall from the second story down to the first story. Back when I took a job at the first plumbing company that I would work at when I was about 19 years old, I would end up working in the warehouse, and I would end up organizing all of the inventory on all of the service trucks. About 1.5 years later, when I started the apprenticeship program, I already knew the backs of those trucks very well because I helped design them, and I would regularly stock those trucks. So when I worked in the warehouse, it was my job to be organized, and it was my job to keep track of the inventory. But as soon as I got into a service truck, it only took me about 6 months to turn that truck into a disaster. At some point in my career as a service plumber, I figured out the cleaner and the more organized my truck was, the more money I made. The end result was I would hire somebody to do that job, because for some reason I just couldn't seem to stay on top of it. I'm securing the stair treads from the backside with extra long screws just to make it extra strong. it's surprisingly stiff. I think I'm gonna tie the two floor joists into whatever we do with the loft. We either have a landing that goes back like that, or
That's a
I'm
good
thinking,
idea.
huh?
That's a good idea.
Or I'm thinking about just leaving the loft as wide as this is.
At least it's not sticking out. I thought it was gonna go way far out.
Why? That's why I had to cut all this off. I need to put something under the stair
You're
stringers
not
to
going to
support.
right now?
Yeah, I am. I just have to go get material to do it. I'm gonna get some angle iron or something like that to offer another brace, so there's just no way you can break the stringers and get hurt. But the other issue is the stringers are 2x12 and I had leftover 2x10, so I tried to use the 2x10s for the stairs, and you can see it. Look at it. Stand in front of it and look at it. You can see the little, see it? Right in the middle, a little gap. You notice it or not? Okay. Someday I may change
Oh,
that right there.
yeah.
So I may change these to 2x12s at some point.
Why not do it right now?
You know how expensive 2x12s are right now? I'm not buying 2x12s. There's nothing wrong with these 2x10s. Code says a 10-inch tread. That's a 10-inch tread. Stain them and kind of make them look,
Dark, so you can't see the dirt.
I'm gonna try and just make them look a little bit less like 2x10s, and a little bit more like some old worn out stair treads. But it's good, it's solid. Now I just gotta go pick up the 2x6s and the OSB to finish the bedroom, and then finish the finish the shear around the rest of it. You know, it's such a bummer to have that sun shining
Yeah, it feels
and our
so good.
solar panels are covered in snow. It's such a bummer.
Almost there.
Anyway, maybe you kids come help me do some cleanup at some point, maybe. I don't know. So all it is just little remnants of wood, but
Stack it over there.
do something with it.
Well, guess what? They just canceled school, so.
Today,
Yesterday. Or yesterday. Tomorrow.
they cancel tomorrow
They
too.
canceled tomorrow. They said the bus is gelled up today. So.
The diesel's all gelled up.
Yeah.
So they officially obviously canceled today. So tomorrow will be
No,
good.
they went. There's kids today.
Oh, there was?
Yeah. We just.
We probably ought to start our vehicles and see if they're going to start.
I was gonna ask if you're going to town or not.
Yeah.
Where's the last?
Nope, right there. So that's exactly 12 feet. So I could do another 12-foot room. It'd be more comfortable if it was 12 feet. So 12. Feet right here, which is right in the middle of that window. So that window is going to have to go down. But that's a good opportunity to move that window.
Is it a window or a door?
I have to do a window no matter what. This bedroom has to have a window no matter what.
Oh yeah.
So this window is going to get moved. Probably, should I center it on the wall or move it to one side or move it to the other?
I think about where the beds are gonna go.
Something really simple that's
I don't know.
kind of cozy. The LFP is going to be cold. It's going to be cold
Well,
out
we have
here.
that in our house.
Huh?
We have that in our house.
Yeah, but our house is heated. Out here on the loft, it's not going to be heated the same way that the bedrooms are going to be
It's
heated.
just gonna get it's gonna be so dusty and dirty. I don't know.
Hit it with a vacuum. I don't know. We'll see. When we get ready to do that, we'll go look at some samples. I had that leftover Huber wood from when I originally built the shop, but I'm going to shear the rest of the shop with OSB. And I'm using 1/4-inch wedges to get the OSB off the ground so it's not in contact with the concrete. Many of the 2x4s that I've used during this build were actually the 2x4s that were salvaged from the first water tank shelter that I built 4 or 5 years ago. So it makes me feel a little better reusing some of this stuff. Okay, I got the stairs all figured out. Now all that I have left to do is just to get the bedroom walls framed up here, and then I can start on the loft. It's a tiny bit irritating giving up this much of my shop for the new addition, but if this lends to getting more family and friends up here, spending more time with us, then it is most definitely a justified cause. My job is I need to make it comfortable enough where they want to come back. Before the angry cat lady sends me an email, understand that I didn't know the cats were up there. Those cats follow my lovely wife everywhere, and they followed her right in the shop, and I didn't see them. As you can see, that window is going to have to be moved, but if this is going to be the height of the loft, then the other window really should be a little bit higher as well. So this is my opportunity to move at least this window, and then when the loft is done, if the other window needs to be moved, we can move that one too. Those windows should be a couple of feet off the ground in order to meet code. Okay, I'm going to stop there for now. This is all of the framing that really needs to get done before I can make sure I get all the electrical in all the right spots. Obviously, I need to have some bedroom lights in here, but we also need to have a lot of the switches downstairs tied into the existing system so we can turn on outside lights, so we can turn on maybe not all the shop lights at once, maybe just one light up here, something like that. So at some point, my son-in-law, Christian, is going to come and just kind of make sure I'm doing everything right. I'm going to have him look everything over before I call for the inspection. I'll probably have him do the hard stuff like the three-way switches, all that fun stuff, and I'll just pull all the wire and do all the grunt work before he gets here. So I'm giving up a good chunk of my shop to have this, but I really feel like this is a wise investment in light of the world that we live in. So anyway, I'll get back out here tomorrow and get this finished up. It's warming up, by the way. Today's the first day that I didn't have to run the generator to charge the batteries, and probably close to a while for sure. This has been a hard winter. I'm happy to not be plowing snow, and I'm happy to be working in here. So for the most part, the framing is basically done. So we will see you guys in a few days with an update on where we're at here, and hopefully I can get enough done to where we're soon working on that loft.
No, flatten it out.
Flatten
So
it
it gets
out.
super flat, and then you throw it and you spin it.
Just don't drop it on the ground.
Roll it out. I don't know how to do it though.
What?
It's coming out from
Mom, I need a roller. This is like not.
Pull it. Sad little.
Whoops. Mom, is that big enough?
You guys, my families. And I just slathered this stuff.
Good night. Oops, sorry.
You see that she's